think this is how it starts, is this idea of community building. You need everyone, right? From the unemployed laborer right on up the spectrum to the 1%er who sees the need for greater equitable outcomes in our society. Resource generation certainly has given me a community, right? That's been one of the beauties of that, and like me getting to see that, right? Like I think some folks who exist in the other can almost become misanthropic and wear that otherness as a badge of honor. But I think resource generation serves as a great entity of politicizing them around some of these issues, right? And how do we actually take collective action to begin doing some significant social change? Effectively, I would say in many respects I grew up poor, working class for the most part, though with a great deal of class access, class privilege, largely because we grew up in an arts family. Sometimes we were doing sort of very opulent things, and other times like electricity would be shut off, or we'd be without heat and other very basic things. But for the most part, I'd say I had a decent upbringing. Like I didn't know that was strange until I did. So right now I run an investment advisory firm that is principally focused on socially responsible investing. We do a lot of different things, working with philanthropists, with foundations, nonprofit organizations, and really we work to help people think more progressively about their values, more progressively about their money, and how that can kind of be encapsulated into broader legacies for themselves. In addition to that, we've kind of used the business in some real ways in terms of a platform for organizing philanthropy and sort of moving resources back out into the communities.
To see the starkness and wealth gaps, and even though I see it in New York from like going to East New York and Brownsville back into Manhattan, it's bothersome even more so here, I guess.
So I see Newark as a great incubator for society at large. I mean, everything from environmental justice issues, from educational justice issues, to criminal justice issues, to crushing poverty. Like Newark is right at the forefront of each of those fights. And so I think at the point in which we can begin to shift any of those individual issues across a broad framework that allows the citizens of Newark, frankly, to live in a more dignified existence, right? That's like an inalienable right to me, this idea of a dignified existence. Very candidly, my reflexive thought around it, secretly at the time, was, why am I going to give money to wealthy people? In retrospect, though, what I've gained from it has been invaluable. Again, this sense of community, this sense of exposure of modes of thinking, of stretching my own thinking in some meaningful ways that I think has actualized my own giving and catalyzed me towards being involved in a community that is very dedicated towards systemic change. And I have this thing of like, it's not everything needs to be quid pro quo, but if you get something of value, you need to give something back very simply, right? And I realized at that time I received something of value and I was like, well, I've got to become a member. And so my presence can hopefully open the doorway for other young folks of color who are also living with wealth and trying to figure out how they can go about impacting social justice issues in a grand way.